everybody? Welcome to another installment of BrickWall Reviews, or as we call them here for this month, BrickWall Horror. Right now, I'm going to be talking to you about the movie Infinity Pool, a psychological thriller horror movie that has quite the ending. Before I get into it, remind you guys, go ahead, hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you already subscribe. Follow us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch, where we do the Lights BrickWall podcast and gaming. And Instagram, where we do mini reviews as well. I know I said Instagram already, but we do mini reviews on Instagram as well. So, as we all know, tomorrow is Halloween. Today is the day before Halloween. Hallows Eve. Anyway, this whole month I'm talking about horror movies. And right now, I'm closing it out by talking about some that I really needed to get to, but I haven't gotten to yet. But let's get into it. So, the movie Infinity Pool. This is a pretty interesting movie. This was released in last year, 2023. And it follows a couple on vacation who, after being guided by a seductive and mysterious woman, venture outside the resort grounds and find themselves in a culture filled with violence, hedonism, and untold horror. A tragic accident soon leaves them facing a zero-tolerance policy for crime. Either you'll be executed, or if you're rich enough to afford it, you can watch yourself die instead. Oh, how can they watch themselves die instead? Well, that's what I'm going to kind of talk about. So, and I'm not sure if they say this in the trailer or not, but who cares? This is an important part. So, like I said, pretty much a couple's on vacation, and they kind of pull up to the resort. They're just kind of just trying to live. So, like the guy, he's like an author, but he hasn't really been doing too well. So this is kind of like a way to kind of get out of, kind of get him out of his shell. Not out of his shell, but kind of like change his mind, kind of get his mind a little bit of rest. Maybe he can come up with some more creative ideas, but more so it's to spend time with his lovely wife. While they're here at this resort, they meet this young lady, whose name is, hold on, let me get her character's name. Y'all know I'll be having all this stuff right. Whose name is Gabby, who's played by Mia Goth. And they start to find out, about different things to do outside of the resort. And they just go out, kind of, have a good time, a little bit socializing, a little bit drinking, all that good stuff. Cool. Well, when they're driving home, James, who's the main guy, played by Alexander Skarsgård, he ends up running over some guy in the street. This guy ends up being like this very high profile figure in the country that they're in. So he gets pulled in for questioning. They ask him what's going on, and they ask him what happened. They interrogate him, blah, 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 blah. And then, like I said in the synopsis, they end up sentencing him to death. They say, however, we can offer you a different deal. You can watch yourself die instead. How can you watch yourself die? Well, they decide they clone him. So they have this program where they clone people and they watch that clone get killed, stabbed up, all that good stuff, right? So after James watches this guy, watches his clone die and get killed and everything like that, the movie pretty much takes this not hard left turn, but it takes this really crazy turn because you find out that Gabby knew about the whole cloning thing the entire time, and she was on board with it. And now she's trying to get James on board with it, and she kind of introduces James to this lifestyle, which is really, really wild, really, really crazy, and really, it's one heck of a thing. Like, there's one scene in this movie, I'm not going to describe what it is, but let's just say, just make sure the kid's not in the room. Make sure the parents, if they're not into that type of stuff, make sure they ain't there because it's a long scene and it's got a lot going on. But as soon as that's done and everything like that, you see James's transformation into who it is that he starts to become. And that's where the movie kind of becomes a little bit more interesting to me, because that's where it kind of ramps up, in terms of like, the incidents and the things they get into. Like, at one point, they start they breaking these people's houses and they start like beating them up and stuff like that, threatening to kill them. And then at one point they even get caught. Now, I'm not going to explain like what the whole thing that this crew of people is into, but just know it does have to do something with the clones. And just like they just come, and you find out they come to the resort frequently to, you'll see. And if you probably caught on by what I'm saying if you read between the lines, but it's really, can I say it? I guess I could say it. Like they're kind of into spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. You've been warned, spoiler alert. So what they do is that they go up to the retreat to the resort every year and do a whole bunch of fucked up stuff, and then have themselves clone a deal, agree to the deal, pay to have themselves cloned, and watch their clones get killed. They drag James into this, kind of gets him on this train of thinking, but then what ends up happening is that James kind of he gets into an incident rather that the people kind of put him in, and then he kind of has second thought, so he decides he's gonna leave. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna leave this world, I'm gonna go back to my life, blah blah blah. Well, that's when this movie really gets turned up, and Mia Goth, as I say every time I talk about the wonderful Mia Goth, she puts on quite a show, because she pulls up with the truck, with the car, trying to stop James from leaving, and she's like, Jamesy! James! Come on, James! What are you doing, James? Are you coming back? You just a weak, spoileless boy, James! Like, I'm telling, like, y'all think what I'm doing is extra, but like Mia Goth turned the fuck up. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I love, like, when she is the screen. Like, people talk about Jenna Ortega, and that's cool, but we cannot sleep on Mia fucking Goth, because she did that shit. Boy, Jenna Ortega probably could never. I mean, Jenna Ortega's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. She is a fantastic actress. But Mia Goth, she turned up. Like, it is so crazy how she just turned into this, like, crazy bitch. Like, she turned into a crazy bitch. And she was just like, Josie! Come on, James! That's a good boy! Come on! That's how she was talking to this man. Because she knew, like, she was like, yo, if you don't come out of this bus, I'm going to kill him. So, like, come on. Let's go. What are you doing? And so it's like, even, like, man, and then even, like, she's like that throughout the rest of the movie. She's like, Jamesy, I know we had a problem before, but we're gonna fix you, Jamesy. Like, it is wild. Like, she really turned up. And the rest of the movie kind of just goes crazy from there too, because it's like, you know, you see, like, they really are trying, I guess they're trying to break James to be a part of that lifestyle, but it's like the extreme that they went to, especially like that last bit of that movie, what they had James do and what ended up happening, it was like, damn. And then what's crazy is, and I'll tell you about, this is not a spoiler, right? Because I skipped the big spoiler, but it's not like when they leave from the resort and they're like heading back, all those people are like, man, normal. Like Mia Goth's character, she's like, oh, well, when I go back home, I'm going to walk to the garden. And my husband's going back to work. I guess I'll be alone. And they're like, oh, we hope to see you again next year, James. It's been wonderful getting to know you. Oh, yes, James. See you soon. And they just walk off. And James is just like, yo, how the fuck are these people going back to normal? Like, when you see all the stuff they do and how wild they get, you're like, yo, I know these people are not just having normal conversations, go back to normal like that. But the movie kind of ends, and it's just like, I like how it ends. Like I said, yeah, like the performances in this movie are really good. The vibe is crazy. I mean, it's a really interesting movie. I really did enjoy it. If there's one thing I really didn't like about this movie is that it does kind of, like, in my opinion, it does kind of take a little bit of a while to, like, there's a lot of stuff you gotta pay attention to, which makes it feel like it takes a while to get up, because they talk like, this one of the movies, they talk like dead ass. They're like, okay. And you know, one of the things that we do here, that we just make everything happy. And that's what we do. And we just have a good time. And you have to eat your cereal. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. And in fact, I'm like, yo, do I need to turn the subtitles on? And I think that's why I was falling asleep a lot of times. I was trying to watch this movie. It took me a long time to watch this movie because I kept falling asleep. I was like, this morning, I was like, yo, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to be wide awake. I make sure I finish it because I really wanted to talk about this movie. So overall, though, it, like, besides that, though, like, it was a pretty good movie. it was a very interesting watch. Not yeah, it was pretty interesting. Just thinking about, how would you be if you knew that you can do anything that you wanted to do, essentially, but you wouldn't face as long as you were able to afford it, you wouldn't face the consequences. You could just clone yourself and watch your clone face the consequences. Like, what kind of life would you live? And that's where the psychological horror aspect of it comes from. This movie, rating wise, well, it is an R-rated film, if you want to know rating. But critically, this has 87% on Rotten Tomatoes, 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb. Me personally, as a movie, I give it a 4. I give it 3.9. I give it 3.9 out of 5 stars. And then as a horror movie, I give it, well, with the ending and then the ideal of having to be faced with these types of moral dilemmas, I can definitely give it, I can sit it at a 3.9 as well. Like, as a horror movie, I'm thinking like, dang, if I was in James's shoes, how would I even adjust to something like this? Like, how would I even, like, what would I do? Like, the horrors of having to be in this situation. So, like, yeah, I give it 3.9 as a movie and as a horror movie. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like boo ha ha scary, but it was just feeling like, whoa, like one of those. But yeah, so that's all I got. Infinity Pool, where can you watch it? It is now available to stream on Hulu. Make sure you guys check it out. It's pretty good. It's worth the watch. And that's it. So thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button down below. Subscribe. BrickWall Horror is almost over. We're about to keep going hard. So until next time, be spooky, stay scary, and you already know what it is. Peace.